Gets multiple goal scorers 6 or 7 different ways.
Hudson Bond meets Luke Weirman at the face-off X, and Weirman, who has been fantastic this season, gets Maryland the opening possession in the black jerseys. Officials Matt Palem, Scott Eason, but right there, Maryland executes a beautiful clean. Molliver switching it back behind the goal with Snauskas. He has his defender hung up. Off the cut, the quick release and score. Jack Corus gets Maryland off to a fine start.
We saw this last weekend at Audi Field. Jack Corus, a tremendous cutting midfielder, but it starts on the defensive end. Look at Rayum, steps in between the defense. I thought that shot could have been bounced maybe a foot or two in front of McNaney, and then that's just too easy if you're Logan Wisnauskas.
From the top, it's Donville, one of the incredible transfers that have helped bolster an already impressive Maryland lineup. Keegan Kahn fires and scores!
Keegan Kahn imposed his will last weekend on Virginia, showing a dodging proficiency that we hadn't seen before. But again, when you talk about Penn State, there we see that thwarted effort. Canyon Birch lost his footing, and then we're just going to come down the other end. And Kahn, known as a finisher at Villanova, but look at him just use that big wiry frame.
Set for the Terps.
Fiok looks sharp. He's seeing the ball. He's reacting well.
Long keeps the ball hot. Behind the cage, Molliver with a defender. Posey hung up. Quick cut, score! Long on the business end of a perfect pass.
Second time Maryland has gotten the Penn State defense hung up. Second time they've scored. Last time it was Wisnauskas to Corus down the left-hand side. And this time it's Molliver to Long. Just a little pass and a quick redirect. Look at the placement by Long. All he had to do was tap that one at the University of Maryland. When you talk about Kahn, Donville, Owen Murphy, who we haven't really called him yet tonight, they fit in seamlessly to Bobby Benson's offense.
Long on the go, folds it over and scores. A beautiful bounce shot.
This is one I think Fiok is going to wish that he could have back. Long, he's so quick and so deceptive coming down that right wing, just getting a step on his man. I thought he was going to run out of real estate, but look at the quick first step, gets a little bit of leverage and a little twister, if you will, from Kyle Long.
Beautiful work. Didn't score against Virginia. He's taken care of that with 2 already tonight.
Incredibly high level, and so when a team like Penn State...
Loose ball layup mark. Will Peden cashes in and gets the Nittany Lions on the board.
I couldn't believe my eyes, Joe. I didn't know what was going on. It was a gift-wrapped opportunity for Penn State. It's a miscue oftentimes you do not see out of the Maryland clearing game. They force the turnover. All it is a simple look. And that, maybe not the best look from Geppert. Kind of handled well. But make no mistake, Makar is the alpha male on that end of the field.
There's a defender again, hung up. This time it's Parnham in that uncomfortable feeling. Snapshot, score! Jack Brennan.
Fifth goal for Maryland. Third scored off of a hangman situation behind the cage. If you're Penn State, you've just got to mark up. You've got to communicate, and you've got to cover the backside. Once more, Molliver just patient. Brennan floats out. Instead of being a down cut to the post, he just flashed out.
Take prone in this first half. Sickler shaking loose. Rayom picked up on the outside. Sickler driving in against Smith. Scores!
Welcome back, Mr. Sickler. And if Penn State is going to start winning matchups, starting to get to the cage, they're going to have to attack the Maryland shorties. I love this matchup. Sickler just goes underneath, gets an angle, and then McNaney did a nice job of tracking this. Got a piece of it, but it just had enough English to go over.
Three-time All-American. On the go. The bouncer from Costin that goes wide. It'll stay Penn State possession. Bringing it in off the end line, Peden wraps and scores! Acrobatic Bill Peden.
Downingtown, Pennsylvania. We just talked about the Pennsylvania pipeline coming to Happy Valley. Will Peden, perfect example, whistle ready. Just gets Sapatello really on his heels. Never really got firm footing. Peden uses his speed, whips around top side, no help.
With temperatures in the mid-20s, a windy evening too. Wind gusts from time to time, over 20 miles an hour. No flurries that we've seen to this point. Those all came during the day. Tremendous shot. It's Kahn lifting Maryland back on the scoreboard.
The wrath of Kahn being felt throughout State College. So impressed am I with Keegan Kahn's ability again to just come above goal line extended. And this one, he's a little farther away from the goal, but watch him dip that right shoulder. Right here is where he gets that leverage, is able to free up on it to score a goal. Keegan Kahn, impressive athleticism.
Weirman wins the draw going right to the cage. Weirman fires, he scores! Back-to-back lightning bolts for the Terps.
How quickly the tide can change when you have offensive firepower as potent as the University of Maryland. Weirman wins it out the front door. Last week, Virginia slid to him. Penn State slides to him as well this week, but Weirman says, you know what? I'm going to post up, and I'm going to bounce it home. He does just that.
Deep.
Really are. Maltz is an inside guy, terrific finisher, operates in a phone booth for the most part. Doesn't need a whole lot of room to get his shot off in traffic.
We see Owen Murphy out there now, 55 in black, another of the highly regarded transfers, former Johns Hopkins Blue Jay. Off the question mark, it's Kahn for the hat trick.
Coming into a program like Maryland and a team like the Terrapins, it might take you a minute as a transfer to get your footing and find your identity, and Keegan Kahn certainly fits that bill. We've seen him score 2 goals going underneath his defender. This time he fakes that lower shoulder, spins with the question mark. You continue to wear down a Penn State defense that has logged a lot of traction tonight. Haven't seen Brett Funk. We have seen Braden Peck. As far as those who've been nicked and injured recently. Jump shot score! Bubba Fairman remembering the offensive side of the game. We've talked about it. This was a 5-3 game just a couple minutes ago, and just like that, 4 in a row for the Maryland Terrapins. Bubba Fairman, an offensive stalwart for this Maryland team the last couple of years, but with some injuries and some personnel changes, he volunteered to go play short stick defensive midfield. Here he shows he still has some funk in his bag. With another rapid possession. This is a snapshot score for Kahn, who feels it for 4, denting the twine against Jack Frassian. New goalie, same result. Jeff Tambroni has seen enough. He calls a timeout. Maryland is all kinds of fired up on a super cold night in Happy Valley. The first 3 goals were all from the left side. This time Kahn fakes the dodge to the left, spins back to the right, Gets his defender crossed up, used the goal as a pick, and then he slips it past Frassian.
Waiting for cutters. Long, ready to press the corner. Fires and scores! Kyle Long has the hat trick.
Fourth time Maryland has gotten the Penn State defense hung up, fourth goal, although this one's a different variety. Instead of it being a feed out front, Long is just going to take the right side, slide his dummy slide, doesn't come. 55 thought about it, stopped, probably should have continued through, but Long took a different angle. You know, I'm not so sure that 2021 season, it counts. But that might have to have an asterisk next to it. Conference-only play and those types of things when you had a guy like Mac O'Keefe on the offense. So this is a Penn State team that's going to continue to work and get better.
Wisnauskas, those long strides, gets them to the front of the goal, and he scores.
It's been a minute before we mentioned Logan Wisnauskas. John Tillman said it at halftime. We just have so many guys, and it's a selfless group, and whoever has the hot hand or the good matchup is going to take advantage. But Logan Wisnauskas continues to work. He's got the short stick. Shorty actually tried to shut him off a little bit, and Wisnauskas a little what's what behind the cage. Front 22 season, again, that means you put a guy like Will Peden in the lineup that you're hoping to protect. It's almost like a first-round draft pick quarterback or a high draft round quarterback. You try to protect them and keep them to get them to learn the game.
Picture perfect passing again, Mark, and it's Chorus who converts.
Another great cut from Jack Chorus. First goal was a left-handed cut. This one is a right-handed cut. He just has an impeccable sense of timing and angle. Watch him wait. Defense turns their heads. Cuts right to the post, slips it past Frassian.
Defensive posture as DeMayo lugs it ahead for Maryland in the black jerseys. Wisnauskas got on the board and then feeds there for DeMayo from zero angle. He scores.
Just a two-man game between Wisnauskas and DeMayo. And it's intuitive and uncanny, the offensive communication that exists with this Maryland team. You just see the pick coming down from DeMayo. Just slips off of it at a severe angle as well and is able to roof it past Frassian. Great recognition. They got shooters on the 10-man.
DeMayo and Long flick it on back. Donville coming late. Long, who has a hat trick. Kahn, who has 4. Bring it on around for DeMayo, who has a couple of goals. Getting fancy there behind the back on the pass. It comes up on the scoop for Keegan Kahn. Wisnauskas hiding. Nice look inside. Donville converts.
Maryland offense just continues to dissect and just really impress. Wisnauskas so patient, not a lot of pressure behind. Donville with the little flash cut right down the heart of the Penn State defense. Reads it, finds it, scores it. Maryland continues to roll heavy.
Dissect, you say. Maryland slicing.
We're talking about the Big Ten. We didn't say a whole lot about Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan, a team, 3 losses in a row, but they feature Zawada and Boehm are excellent scorers. Ryan Cohen is a terrific-looking freshman. Rowlett is a capable face-off man. And then you have an Ohio State team as another goal was scored by Maryland Mulliver. Then you have an Ohio State team that owns victories over North Carolina and Notre Dame. Jack Myers is the catalyst offensively, and they have an amazing freshman defender by the name of Bobby Van Buren that's really turning a lot of heads in the collegiate lacrosse world.
Back to this work from Molliver. 6th leading scorer for the Terrapins.
Yeah, he's a number 1 on a lot of teams around the country, but with this balance and depth, total package for the University of Maryland.
McNaney, who scored shorthanded against Ohio State on Big Ten Network a season ago. Jeff Tambroni was saying, could his team play at Maryland's torrid pace? Could they set an edge? Could they set a perimeter? It's hard to do against this offense. Wisnauskas going again. Parnham there to defend on Kahn. Shot clock at 25. Point blank, put away. The Terps, who have scored 20 goals in 4 different games already, are making their way there again.
Eric Mulliver, for my money, a future #1 jersey wearer for the Maryland Terrapins. Just a little bit lucky here if you're Mulliver. I mean, hey, when you're good, sometimes you get lucky. DeMeo, shot, save, rebound, redirect. Mulliver. As my old thing about Maryland is, everybody does what they do well. Everybody seems to stay in their lane, try not to be too much. It's something that they're not.
Molliver tucks this one home. Molliver with the last 3 on the board in a row for Maryland. The words that Coach Tambroni was using, maturity and poise. He kept coming back to poise, describing how Maryland was operating this season.
And I think it's spot on. You know, Maryland has just really not been challenged. You know, Notre Dame was a tough game, 11-9 victory for the Terps. But for the most part, Maryland has imposed their will. You know, much like a tackman, just scoring goals and feeding isn't enough. How do you rock? What's your compete level? For face-off men, that's something that coaches look at. Not only can you win a face-off, but what do you do after you win it? And what do you do if you don't win it?
That ball danced along the goal line and actually crossed it. It got past Drew Morris, who's come off the bench to sub in for Logan McNaney. Penn State ends a super long drought.
This team has not stopped competing, which will please the coaching staff of Penn State. Just an individual effort. Shot, Morris looked like he tracked it, but then just caromed off of what looked like his right ankle. And that is
covered up by Colin Burles. We see King Ripley, 50 in the black, a short stick defensive midfielder. Follow-up chance, tucked home. Nils Barry.
You know, this game might have been decided a little while ago, but it's so important for these young players to continue to progress, continue to get an opportunity to play and produce. Barry just is going to sneak inside after the pass, the shot deflects. It's Jack Kelly. Johnny on the spot. Barry picks it up, redirects it.
And then number 5, Yale, here by a 10-6 margin. It's been a rough run of late. 3-game losing skid prior to tonight. All 3 setbacks by a single goal. On the move, Hawes fires, and he stings the corner. Grant Hawes.
His brother's the offensive coordinator. I saw his father, John Sr., walking around a little earlier tonight. My defensive coach when I played at Johns Hopkins. Careless turnover by Maryland, just a terrible pass. Picked up by Hawes, head of steam, decides to post up and rips it to the far corner. Nice job, Grant Hawes.
For Michigan, that game coming up on Saturday. Losing possession here. Parnham brings it along. Aldridge on the bouncer. Morris with a denial. Penn State has the rebound. It's Canyon Birch. Ran into the double. Nils Barry fires and scores. Nils Barry has a good-looking left-handed release.
We've seen Canyon Birch do this a couple times tonight. Gets deep into the defense, kind of gets hung up, but some way, somehow, he has a chance to get, he has the wherewithal to get rid of the ball, and here he's just going to flick it to Birch. And Birch does a smart thing. He cocks it and then uses the defender as a screen.
And dads and friends who are in the stands supporting the Terrapins. All Maryland in this one by the final counts of 18-7.
a dominant performance. Maryland took a little bit, and they had cracked the code, if you will, and then Maryland just doing